Good day, everyone. For teleSUR, I'm Cody Weddle in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin this midday in the U.S. That's where, in an event that has further escalated racial tensions in Ferguson, Missouri, 2 law enforcement officers were shot early Thursday morning during a protest outside a police station. There have been conflicting reports on the origins of the shots, but according to some witnesses, they were fired from a hill a good distance from where the protesters had gathered. The shooting happened just hours after the city's police chief, Thomas Jackson, announced his resignation following charges of racial discrimination in the force. St. Louis Police Chief John Belmar described the events.
As far as the night goes, probably 60, 70 people that were up there. It wasn't all that remarkable compared to some of the things that we have experienced over the last few months, but there were quite a few people in the roadway, sidewalks, in front of the station, etc. There was a contingent of police officers that were up there from different agencies assisting Ferguson, and the night was fairly uneventful up until about midnight. At midnight, the crowd was starting to break up. In fact, several of the officers had left the area, and to the immediate northwest of the Ferguson Police Department, several shots were fired, at least 3, and 2 officers were struck. A St. Louis County officer was struck in the shoulder, and a Webster Groves police officer was struck in the face. Both those officers are here right now. They're being treated. I don't have an official status on what their condition is right now. They are conscious.
And for more now on the events in Ferguson, we go straight to our correspondent Alexandra Hall in the U.S.
The incident happened just a few hours after midnight early on Thursday. One officer was shot in the face and another in the shoulder outside of the Ferguson police station as people gathered just hours after Ferguson Police Chief Tom Jackson announced his resignation. Some people were reportedly celebrating, others were protesting. All of this coming in light of a Department of Justice investigation that found that there is a culture of racially biased policing happening in the area, and that fines and citations of African Americans in the local community are used as a source of income for the criminal justice system. Now, the police chief of St. Louis said that those officers are now in a serious condition in Washington. I'm Alexandra Hall for teleSUR.
Taking a look now at the events as they have unfolded in Ferguson over the past 7 months. On August 9th of last year, Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson shot and killed an unarmed black teenager. That was Michael Brown. Witnesses say that Brown's hands were up in surrender when he was shot. The body remained in the street for 4 hours. During the following weeks, police in riot gear used tear gas and rubber bullets against protesters demanding justice in Brown's case. On November 25th, a Ferguson grand jury decided not to indict Officer Darren Wilson for the shooting, re-sparking unrest in Missouri and around the world. Earlier this month, the U.S. Justice Department released a scathing report on the Ferguson Police Department's structural racism against the predominantly black population and its use of petty fines to fill the city coffers. This led to a new round of demonstrations, which have resulted in 2 Ferguson police officers being shot following a protest against police violence early Thursday morning. And in the midst of social tensions within the United States, social movements around the world are voicing their opposition to the United States considering Venezuela a security threat. The international small farmer movement La Via Campesina has spoken out about what it calls the United States' aggression towards Venezuela. Similar statements have come from the Nicaraguan National Federation of Workers, as well as social movements in Panama and Vancouver, Canada. On Wednesday, Venezuelan Vice President Jorge Ariasa reaffirmed his nation's desire for respectful and peaceful relations with all countries.
What Venezuela wants with the United States is what it wants with every country in the world. Relations based on respect and peace, so that we can develop our national projects independently in a sovereign way. We reject these kinds of laws that completely violate international public rights and which do not respect borders, not sovereignty.
According to the Washington Post, since last May, the U.S. has been detaining young Mexicans for months without any charge across the country. 536 minors have been held, 248 of whom were deported to Mexico after an average stay of 75 days. Mexican authorities say some Mexican children have spent as much as 6 months in U.S. custody while they await an appearance before an immigration judge. And also in Mexico, access to national archives with information pertaining to the country's dirty war from the 1970s to the 1990s is being closed. Our correspondent Clayton Kahn now explains why.
Earlier this week, Mexico's Interior Secretary closed direct access to historic archives, which housed declassified information and documents by Mexico's spy agency, the CISN, on the country's so-called dirty war that occurred primarily in the 1970s through to the 1990s. Analysts say the move could impact ongoing investigations into human rights abuses by authorities, even up until the previous administration of Felipe Calderón. Now, the documents were declassified 14 years ago and proved to help in solving cases of social activists and militants who were either disappeared, imprisoned, or murdered by government agents or the military in previous decades. Analysts also argue that the closing of these archives is arbitrary and sends a bad sign as Mexico continues to face sharp national and international criticism, especially after the enforced disappearance of the 43 Ayotzinapa students in September for corruption and human rights violations in its security forces and public institutions. However, the authorities argue that many documents contain confidential or sensitive material. This is Clayton Kahn reporting for teleSUR here in Mexico City.
Cuba and the United States have re-established consistent and direct telephone links for the first time since 1999. Now, according to a Cuban state telecommunications company, calls can now be made directly from the United States to Cuba and vice versa. That reduces costs by not having to pass through a third country. This is the first agreement that has been signed by both countries since the announcement last December that the two countries would renew diplomatic ties. The Union of South American Nations at UNASUR has agreed with Bolivia's Supreme Court to accompany the country in its coming regional elections. The agreement stipulates that Bolivia's Electoral Commission will assist representatives of UNASUR and other observers in their aim to ensure a smooth electoral process. Bolivians head to the polls this March 29th to elect governors and mayors. Intellectuals and political theorists are gathering in the Argentinian capital of Buenos Aires for a conference. It's entitled the Forum of Emancipation and Equality. The encounter is being attended by such notable personalities as Noam Chomsky and Emir Sadr. For more now, we go to our correspondent, Leno Pobletti.
Yes, that's right. The Forum for the Emancipation and the Equality of the Peoples commences this Thursday here in the Argentine national capital here in Buenos Aires. It's a three-day forum held and organised by Argentina's Ministry of Culture, where thinkers, intellectuals, academics from all over the world converge here into Buenos Aires to think and rethink the emancipation processes of the Latin American region, and why not the rest of the world. Figures such as Noam Chomsky, Camila Vallejo of Chile, Emir Sadr of Brazil, coming here and giving some wonderful conferences for people to go and see, and which we will be letting you know about here on teleSUR between this Thursday and Saturday when it does come to an end. We've just come out of the press conference, the inaugural press conference for this Thursday, where two Mexicans, Paco Taibo and Cuauhtemoc Cárdenas, offered a press conference, and they emphasized that this forum is for the improvement of the emancipation processes of Latin America, putting a great deal of enthusiasm in the outcomes of this forum. Back to you.
Around the world now, the IMF has approved a $17.5 billion loan to Ukraine. The director of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, says that the additional funding will be financed over a 4-year period. The package includes an immediate payout of $5 billion. Washington is welcoming the IMF's decision, while it is providing $76 million worth of assistance to Ukraine that will consist of military equipment, including drones. France is supporting West African regional forces who are fighting the Nigerian Islamic militant group Boko Haram. In a press conference on Wednesday, French Defense Minister Jean-Yves Drian said that they are increasing their numbers in Bekran while decreasing the numbers in Sangares. He added that France will not be fighting, but rather providing logistical and technical support. Palestinians are mourning the death of a number of Gazans due to the sinking of a ship in the Mediterranean earlier this month. Our correspondent Noor Herzine has more.
Today in the Gaza Strip, many Palestinian families received such a bad news after Palestinian officials said that over 50 Palestinian residents from the Gaza Strip have died when they were on board one of the boats, migrant boats, to Europe from Egypt, and this boat sank at March the 4th. However, they only got the news today. At the same time, in the Gaza Strip, Israel allowed Palestinian products, vegetables, to leave the Gaza Strip to be sold and exported to Israel. And this is the first time that Israel allowed Palestinian goods to be exported from Gaza to Israel since 2007.
47 Republican senators in the U.S. have warned that they will attempt to reverse any nuclear deal that Iran makes with U.S. President Barack Obama. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has responded by saying that his country may stop the nuclear deal between Washington and Tehran because the U.S. was known for what he called backstabbing. He also added that whenever negotiations made progress, the U.S. became, quote, harsher, tougher, and coarser, unquote. In sports, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather came face-to-face Wednesday for the first time since their May 2nd mega fight was announced. This is reported to be the richest fight in history. Mayweather is projected to make, get this, $120 million, and Pacquiao will pocket $80 million. Talking to the press, Pacquiao said that he is using his underdog status as fuel for preparation.
I like being an underdog, and I'm excited for that. And it gave me more inspiration, more encouragement to focus training, to focus the fight.
The winner of the World's Best Teacher Award will be announced on March 15th at the Global Education and Skills Forum in Dubai. The 10 finalist countries include Haiti, India, and Kenya. The Global Teacher Prize, as it's officially called, is an annual $1 million award from the Varkey Foundation. It's given to an innovative and caring teacher who has made an inspirational impact not only in their students' lives, but also in their community.
Learn English. If you have a high IQ, you will figure that out.
The Detroit Institute of Arts Museum will open an exhibit March 15th named Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo. It will be dedicated to the year the couple lived in the city in the 1930s. The exhibit will include paintings and drawings the two artists created before, during, and after their year in Detroit. More on those stories and others at our website, telesurtv.net/English. For teleSUR English, I'm Cody Weddle. Have a great day.